Hey Stemsters, Mr. Santella back with another Zones of Regulation lesson. Before we get into today's lesson, let's do a zones review. All right, blue zone. Your body is running slow. So that can mean you're tired, sick, bored, sad, maybe even hungry, okay? Now, the green zone. This is yay. This is where we want to be when we are ready to be a learner. All right. We're happy, we're calm, we're focused, we're ready to hear what our teacher is telling us. Okay. We're ready to learn new things. Now, the yellow zone. This is when you're starting to lose control and you need to, whoa, slow down. All right. You may be feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, silly, wiggly, excited, worried, anxious, maybe even surprised. All right. And then we get to the red zone. This is when you're out of control and you need to stop. All right. You're not making good decisions and you really just need a break. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get into today's lesson. So, today's lesson is about triggers. What you'll learn in this lesson is what triggers are, and you'll also learn what triggers you. All right. So, what are some triggers that affect how you feel? All right. So, you will be successful when you know what triggers are. And you will be successful when you can name at least one thing that triggers you. All right. Well, you're probably asking, well, what is a trigger, Mr. Santella? Well, I got an answer for you. A trigger is something that happens that puts you in the blue zone, the yellow zone, or the red zone. All right. So it can be anything that makes you feel maybe sad, maybe worried, ooh, maybe angry, definitely frustrated. So something that puts you in the yellow zone or makes you feel silly, or something that you might be in the blue zone and you're bored. All right. So remember, a trigger is something that happens that puts you in the blue, yellow, or red zone. Now, there are a lot of things that are triggers, and triggers are not the same for everybody. So it's important to understand what triggers you, okay? But it's also important to understand what triggers the people around you so that you're not doing that and disrupting the classroom, okay? Now, there are also um, triggers that might just be here at school, that might not be at home, or there might be triggers at home that you don't have to worry about at school, okay? So triggers are all around us. And remember, a trigger is anything that happens that puts us in the blue, yellow, or the red zone. All right, so I'm going to give you some examples of some triggers, okay? One example, people calling me names. That could be a trigger, right? That could put you right into the yellow zone, the blue zone. You might be sad. It might put you in the red zone because you're angry. Strong smells. You might smell something and it might be like, oh man, that smell has me really anxious, right? Or that smell has me really excited because I think we're having chocolate chip cookies for lunch, right? Those are triggers. Reading. So your teacher might be like, all right, friends, it's time to start reading. Now, when I was a little boy, reading was hard for me. And I would definitely go into the yellow or the blue zone when I had to read. Now, with a lot of perseverance and practice, I became a much better reader, and it's not a trigger for me anymore. But it was when I was a little boy. When people don't share. Now, I see this a lot in kindergarten, first, and second grade, that when people aren't sharing, then other people are put into the yellow zone, the red zone, the blue zone, right? They might be sad, they might be frustrated, they might be angry that people are not sharing. All right. Here's one I see sometimes too is when you are not understanding directions. So your teacher might be giving you directions and you just don't understand it and you become frustrated. Well, you're now in the yellow zone. So that was a trigger for you. Now that is a time when you need to use a tool, and we'll talk about tools next lesson, but a tool when you don't understand is just to ask for help. Okay? So let's look at some other triggers. Transitions. So maybe going from lunch to recess, or going from the classroom to lunch, or even inside your classroom when you go from reading groups to math. Those transitions, when we change from one thing to another, sometimes those can be a trigger for us. Another one, math. Yeah, just like with reading. Doing a certain subject that you're not very comfortable with could be a trigger for you, right? And maybe it's a combination. You're transitioning to math. Well, transitions might be a trigger for you, and math might be a trigger for you. So you might have a couple triggers right there that you're going to have to use some tools to help you navigate. Like I said, we'll talk about tools next week. All right, something breaks. I know I've been building Legos before, and I'm almost done, and I go and push something together, and it breaks. Man, I get frustrated, right? That was a trigger for me when something breaks. Another one, loud noises, right? I know when we used to do fire drills, the loud beeping noise of the light when we have a fire drill, that was a trigger for a lot of people. All right. Loud noises are, everywhere around us. So that could also be a trigger for you. All right. And last, when you just feel overwhelmed, that's a trigger. That can put you in the blue, the yellow, or the red zone. All right. Now, I really need you to think like the emoji. What are some of your triggers? Now, it's very good for you to know what your triggers are so you can avoid them, or you can prepare yourself to use a tool to help you stay in the green zone or get to the green zone, right? The tools that we'll talk about next week, they help you stay in the green zone or they help you get to the green zone, okay? So, like I had asked, think about it. What are some of your triggers? Great job, everyone. Now let's review. Triggers are something that happens that puts you in the blue, the yellow, or the red zone. Okay? And we are always ready to learn when we are in the green zone. Okay? So the green zone, remember, good to go. Now, next week, we'll work on some tools to help us when we're triggered, to help us get to the green zone. Okay? All right, scholars, until I see you again next week, have a great rest of your week. Bye.